Hey there guys, in my best professions for each game mode video I have received a ton of support. Thank you all so much for that. However, there was one profession that I did not include in my list. The engineer. Many people watching the video thought the engineer was in a bad spot and was not used in any game mode. This is definitely not the case. In fact, the engineer has plenty of meta builds that are effective in every game mode. I still stand by my list, but let me make it up to you guys with a video of my favorite meta builds for the engineer. Before we head into the video, if you want to support me, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a like, share it with your guildies, and watch this video all the way to the end. So let me get on to my Super Saiyan engineer and have a look at my favorite meta builds. Alright, let's start off with the endgame PvE builds. Let me start off by saying that I love to play my engineer in raids. My favorite raid build is the Power Holosmith build. The build itself can do a large amount of DPS, but that doesn't make it better than any other build or profession. Like other DPS builds in Guild Wars 2, you need to follow a specific rotation to do the most damage. While some Weaver builds currently do the most DPS, the builds are hard to execute because the rotation is hard and prone to errors. The Holosmith build I use allows you to make a couple of mistakes and still do a great amount of DPS. This allows you to focus on the raid mechanics instead of your rotation. The build focuses on doing damage in the Photon Forge form while your heat is above 50. The trait Laser's Edge increases your damage done while your heat is above 50 in Photon Forge. This makes skills like Corona Burst and Photon Blitz do a lot more damage or have an extra effect. After you overheat, you want to quickly use your rifle skills and swap to your bomb and grenade kit. On screen, you will see the build in action. Keep in mind that this build requires you to use your skills in a specific order to be effective. This is going to sound very complicated, but you will get used to this soon enough. So let me go over the optimal rotation for this build. Warm up your oven, your Photon Forge to 75. The pipe between your tool belt skills and your Photon Forge ability indicates when you are at 75 heat. You want to do this before you engage into combat. Go into combat and open up with the big old bomb from your tool belt and swap to your bomb kit and use your fire bomb. Then swap to your grenade kit and use your shrapnel grenade and the grenade barrage. These are skills that you want to keep using throughout the fight. After this, use your Photon Forge and use skill 3 Corona Burst and skill 4 Photon Blitz. You will then overheat and you want to quickly use your Laser Disc and your Prime Light Beam Elite skill. These two skills will have additional damage effects because your heat level is still above 50. From here on, you want to use your rifle skills. Start off with an overcharge shot. This will knock you back, so make sure you still have the stability boon from the Corona Burst skill. After that, use jump shot and blunderbuss. Pop out your grenade kit again, use your shrapnel grenade and then swap to your bomb kit. Use your firebomb twice and use normal bombs in between. Then swap to your grenade kit one last time and use the shrapnel, poison and the freeze grenade. From here on, I usually bomb until my Photon Forge is ready. When your Photon Forge skill is ready, use your Photon Forge again and use the Corona Burst and Photon Blitz again. Then use auto attacks and finish with Corona Burst and Photon Blitz before you reach 100 heat. Now, from here on, I just focus on mechanics and prioritize skills like Corona Burst, Photon Blitz, Firebomb and the grenades. You can find a link to the written rotation in the description. Trust me, it looks and sounds complicated, but give it 30 minutes on the DPS golem in the Lion's Arch Aerodrome and you will get the hang of it. The settings for the DPS golem are also in the video description. I specifically talked about raiding, but this build can also be used in Fractals of the Mists. It's basically a one-on-one replica of the raid build. However, there's a difference of one trait. The link to that build is also in the description. Now let's have a look at open world PvE builds for the engineer. I don't use my engineer much in open world, but when I do, I use a similar build to the one I've just described. I prefer to use the same traits and armor, however I do switch my rifle for a sword. A sword gives me the ability to cleave and deal AoE damage with my auto attacks. Usually I use a pistol or a shield in the offhand slot. But like I said in my other video, in open world PvE, it's basically bring your own build. Just pick whatever you like. Anyway, here are some suggestions for your open world PvE builds. Try using the Flamethrower kit with turrets. The turrets can deal damage and tank damage for you, while you use your Flamethrower to deal damage in a wide arc. Another thing you can do is use the Scrapper Elite specialization and use a hammer in combat. You can use the hammer for control and mobility. Use skill 3 to quickly engage, skill 4 to block and skill 5 for an AoE stun. A very versatile weapon. In the video description, I will link some more builds that you could use in open world PvE. But now let's move on and talk about a world versus world build for the engineer. There's currently a great scrapper support build out there for the engineer. So in order to play this, you will need to unlock the scrapper elite specialization. In the build, you will use your hammer as your main weapon. However, you won't be using that most of the time. You will only use it for the number 5 AoE stun skill. Instead, you will use the medkit healing skill to support your allies. It is especially powerful because of the Med Blaster skill that increases your healing for each boon on an allied player. Since you will most likely move in a big Zerg, most players will be buffed by each other and have a lot of boons. Next to that, the medkit also has skills to remove conditions and grant swiftness, vigor and regeneration. When your medkit skills are on cooldown, swap to the elixir gun to further buff and cleanse conditions from your allies. Now those skills I've just mentioned are all part of the base engineer kit, but we are also using gyros for this build. These little drones can only be used by the scrapper. For this build you will use the bulwark gyro to shield your allies, the purge gyro for cleansing conditions and the sneak gyro elite skill to grant stealth to your allies. This build can also supply a great amount of super speed. Super speed is a strong buff that grants you 100% movement speed and ignores some slowing effects like chill and cripple. This is especially powerful in world versus world because the enemy Zergs will try to slow you down and make you an easy target. The final salvo trait creates a lightning field of super speed when a gyro explodes. When you spawn the blast gyro, your tool belt skill will also change and using it will grant super speed to your allies. And last, your elite skill, the sneak gyro, will also grant you super speed. So enough opportunities to quickly move around in a Zerg. If you want to play a strong support build in world versus world, the support scrapper is the build for you. Okay, let's move on to our next and last game mode, PvP. I was surprised to see that my old scrapper build that I have played years ago in PvP is still relevant. This build is mainly focused at supporting your team and holding capture points. However, it is still incredibly strong in 1 versus 1 situations. This scrapper build uses the hammer as the main weapon. I particularly like the hammer in PvP because you can reflect, engage, block and stun with just one weapon. Basically, you can adapt to any situation with this weapon. You can survive in team fights or when you get overwhelmed by multiple players with your gyros, elixir gun or another utility skill of your choosing. For your elite skill you have multiple options, the sneak gyro for stealth, elixir X for more CC or the mortar kit for low cooldown damage kills. Now if you're not into playing the scrapper bunker build, there is also a direct damage Holosmith build out there. This build is more mobility with a little bit of support from the photon wall skill. Like the raid build, this build uses a rifle and the photon forge skill to deal a lot of damage. And as with all of the builds, you can find both the scrapper and the Holosmith build in the description. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this short video and I hope these builds and explanations were useful. If you want to share your opinion or your own build, leave it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, consider giving this video a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Guild Wars 2 content. For now, I would like to thank you all so much for watching and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace!